Did I read you and your mom FaceTime like every day?
Yeah, we FaceTime all the time. We do. We stay connected. We really do. And my dad.
You called her like your best friend, I think.
She was my number one customer. Yeah, my mom. Because there was a lot of time where in high school, I mean, my dad was, like I said, was a firefighter. He'd work 48, 72-hour shifts sometimes, where it was just my mom and I, while Derek was at school and JJ was in the NFL. We would just spend a lot of quality time together.
What do you think she taught you?
That's a good question, man. My mom is very strict, very stern. She says what she wants.
Like how so?
Like are you saying strict? Like we would have to do book reports in the summers. She's very defensive of her family. People don't mess with Connie Watt. They know that. Anybody that knows her knows that. She's very proud of her family and what she's built, and she should be. She's a damn good mom, and she's a damn good grandma, and
she mentioned she remembers getting up at 4:30, 5 a.m. with you some
the
mornings to
flashcards?
study. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think it was like probably like 6th or 7th grade. I was a terrible student.
Were you?
I'll admit that. I was a terrible student. I had like a exam on all the bones in the body or something the next day, and I couldn't get it for the life of me. So she's like, TJ, we're gonna wake up at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Like we're gonna go over all these flashcards we can, and we're gonna get it. And I think I think I ended up passing, but it's just like one of those things where she wasn't gonna let me fail. Like my parents, whether they knew I was gonna be great at football or whatever, they wanted to give me as much of an opportunity to be successful in whatever it was that I chose to do. And I don't think they could have lived with not giving it everything they possibly could. And I think that's kind of where that came from.
What do you think your dad taught you?
Working hard, for sure. I think my dad, so here's a little story about my dad, like to get a picture. Very hard on us athletically. In the summers, we would go up to the school and we'd run a mile. Like this was like once a week or a couple times a week. We would, every night before dinner, we'd have to do like 30 pull-ups, sit-ups, stuff like that, just to instill working hard. And I always tell the story too of at next level, you see that glass partition there, right? Like the waiting room. Well, my dad used to always come and watch in the waiting room, and there used to be a dumbbell rack right in front of him. This was when I was first going there, 7th or 8th grade. And I would go to grab like 30s, you know, like first set. And the next set I'd go to grab the 30s again, and he'd be like, and he'd be like go up. Like we don't do the same thing both times. Like you're here to get better. So like, and then you get home and he'd be like, I'm paying for you to do this. Like if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but I'm paying for you to do it. If you want to be successful, this is X, Y, and Z, why you have to do it. And things like that rubbed off on me quickly. I mean, Derek and JJ, when they were in high school, they went to morning liftings, but I wasn't old enough to do that when I was in 7th grade. It was only high schoolers. So I asked my parents if we could go to Snap Fitness when Derek would go work out at the high school. So for, I don't know how long it lasted, I think it was probably 2 or 3 weeks, but my parents would wake up with me at 5:30 in the morning. We'd go over to Snap Fitness at 6. I'd work out with them and come back home, eat breakfast, and go to school. It was pretty cool. I was never told no if I wanted to work hard. It was just one of those things where I was always trying to instill working.
What did the chore chart entail?
Cutting the lawn. So like we would split the lawn into thirds to make sense for obviously Derek, JJ, and me, and we would fight over who cut the side of the house because the side of the house was the shortest, or like the shortest amount. And one day it was just Derek and I, and we were home. JJ was already off at college. Our neighbor, we didn't like him. He threatened to take our dog's voice box out because we had a beagle at the time and he barked a lot. But one day we're out there mowing the lawn and he's like, oh, I'll mow the side of your house for you. Like, no problem. Like, oh, we're turning the page. Like, this guy's awesome. Like, yeah, no problem. He goes out there and like 10 minutes in, we hear like a big bang, bang, bang. And he's like, he's out there looking underneath his lawnmower. Well, Derek and I didn't pick up the sticks. So he like broke his lawnmower, and that was like the one time we could have impressed the neighbor. And from that point on, we never talked to him again, and we were stuck cutting the full side of the yard.
What was the deal with the 2 dinners daily?
Yeah, 5 o'clock and then 8 o'clock. We'd wake up to a 5-egg omelet every morning. I mean, you'd always have a full breakfast, either omelet or pancakes or muffins or something fresh. And then they would send us to school with 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. One you'd eat before lunch, one you'd eat after lunch.
And then you would have 2 lunches. You'd pay for 2
Yeah,
school lunches.
double lunch at school, yeah.
Which I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, double lunch. So yeah, chicken patty, you just get 2 of them, obviously. And then after school, you come home at from next level or track practice, and you'd eat dinner at 5. And that'd be like a spaghetti with garlic bread or something. And then at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, my dad would make salami sandwiches.
Give context to their insane travel schedule, your parents, as you got later in schooling.
It got crazy, it really did, because I was a junior and senior when JJ was really starting to blow up. So what was that, 2011, 2012.
They told me yesterday on the phone that you kind of, genuinely, junior and senior year, kind of felt abandoned.
Yeah, it genuinely was difficult to deal with at the time, and I don't think I knew how to handle those emotions at the time, and I think...
How did it come out in you?
It's just, I think I suppressed it, I really do, and I felt like I was left with whoever was in town to be able to watch me. And I don't, now that I'm old enough to understand why, it makes a lot more sense to me, and I never really resented my parents for it, but it was definitely a tough time in my life.
How do you think at the time it affected you?
It made me resent my brother in a weird way. Yeah, which I never really wanted to feel. And I would use it as a crutch at times, where I'd say, oh, I'm not JJ, or I'm not Derek, you know what I mean? And that obviously isn't the way to handle it either. But the older I get, the more I can reflect on it and understand my parents' side of it. And they weren't trained on how to be an NFL parent of a defensive player of the year and go to Pro Bowls in Hawaii and do all these amazing things. And they were trying to navigate those waters too, so I don't hold that against them, but it was definitely a tough part of my life where it felt like I would come home and there wouldn't be anyone home, or there would just be me and my grandpa, and I loved time with my grandpa, but it just wasn't...
He was biggest fan.
Yeah, he was, but it just wasn't the family dynamic that I grew up knowing.
Even if it was for unhealthy reasons, to what extent do you think that played into kind of underlying additional drive that you developed?
Definitely. I mean, I think I still deal to this day of wanting attention of some sort, and wanting to be as successful as possible to feel that. And not saying that you have to do that to feel love from my parents. That's not the case, but it definitely drove me to want to be an NFL player, to want to have my parents want to come and watch me play and be a part of what my story has in store.
What do you think you learned from your mom and dad about parenting?
Love, sacrifice, trying to be the best that you can be for your kids, and being present. My parents were always present. My dad was a firefighter. My mom was high up at her company at Independent Inspections for a long time, and
started as a secretary, I think. Yeah.
And they had busy lives. They truly immersed themselves in our lives and made sure that we had everything that we could possibly need. They always found a way to make it work for us, and instill in us that hard work works and it gets rewarded, and to always do the right thing and that gets rewarded.